Greetings from my home to yours. As we enter this third month of the COVID-19 crisis in Minnesota and this stay-at-home time, I'm aware that one of the things that feels so hard to hold is the fact that we don't know the end point. We don't know how long we have to endure this time and this way of being. We don't know when we're going to get back to a new normal or some sense of the normalcy that we had. And it's reminded me of an earlier time in my life, in high school and in college, when I was a long-distance runner. It was something that brought me great joy and that grounded my body and my spirit. And as a long-distance runner, you learn that you need to pace yourself differently for different kinds of runs. It's a different thing to head out for 2 miles, or 5 miles, or 8 miles, or more. And not surprisingly, one of the hardest runs are those when you don't know what the end point is going to be, how long, what the distance actually is, or when you're extending a distance into something that you've never tried before. So I've been thinking about what were the lessons that I learned in those days of long distance running that might be applicable to this moment. One of the things that I learned is that when you're running and don't know the end point, it matters more how you stay present to this moment. It matters more how you stay present to how your body is doing, to how your breathing is going, to what you're paying attention to in the environment around you, and how you're seeing both hope and paying closer attention to the road. So being present to the moment is not always easy, either on a run or when you're in a stay-at-home, uncertain time. I found that one of the unexpected barriers to staying present to the moment was when my environment was too familiar. If I ran the exact same run or along the same route all the time, I stopped seeing it. Something about the routine made me miss what was going by. And so I found that I needed to do small things to shake it up, perhaps to make a variance of a couple blocks, to mark different visual markers than the ones that I usually had chosen. And I find this is true in my spiritual practice as well. Sometimes I need to change up something in my meditative space, or I need to take my journaling out of doors on a particular morning, just to give a slightly different context, to go back into that familiar work with fresh eyes. I also found that one of the barriers was not really being present to what I needed, to thinking that what I needed was what I had always needed, when sometimes, particularly on those new runs, my body was telling me something different and saying, perhaps you can still make it through, but you need to make it through in new ways. What if we didn't run the whole time? What if we walked for some? What if we actually stopped and gave ourselves a break and then resumed our pace? What if we changed up the route altogether because the road required something different? I also learned that one of the important parts of being present was being open to the people around me who were encouraging me and helping me to learn what it meant to be a runner. I think of my teammate, Shell, who actually was a wonderful fast sprinter who broke some of our school records. When we were doing the short runs around the track, she often would lap me once or twice. I was not fast, but she would always encourage me and say positive things as she came by. And to my surprise, I learned that when the coach set us on the long distance runs, she was the one who needed encouragement then, and I would cheer her on. And so even to this day, when I go out for a run, I can hear her voice in my head, reminding me that I can make it through and that we each had different gifts of encouragement to share. We are in a time of unknowing. We don't know how long this race is. We don't know what the end point will bring. We don't know what ways of being we are developing right now in this present moment will be with us for the long haul. But my friends, we can trust that we do have endurance, that we do have strength, that we can find new and creative ways to be present to this moment, to one another, to our community, and trust the strength and the courage of the human spirit. May it be so.